am running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback.
Well, after much anticipation, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is officially throwing his hat into the 2024 presidential race. But his announcement on Twitter hit a few road bumps. Technical problems plagued the Twitter Spaces event after a glitchy delay of more than half an hour. The governor's presidential campaign not starting as he intended. Could this have an effect on Mr. DeSantis as he tries to make up ground against former President Donald Trump with the GOP base? For that, I turn now to discuss this with reporter Julia Manchester from The Hill. Julia, I have to ask you, there's so much that happened last night, and I know we've all been waiting for this moment. Some on social media are calling this a major blunder, including the former president. But what's the immediate reaction been from fellow Republicans on this botched announcement?
I think it's been mixed, Nick. You have DeSantis's critics, including former President Trump, who have essentially made fun of this announcement. We saw President Trump posting a number of memes and posts to Truth Social and Instagram last night, including one of a rocket appearing to fall over, a reference to failure to launch. But DeSantis's allies and DeSantis's team would say, well, this of course happened because so many people were logged on to Twitter. And then because of all of the excitement and interest, we saw that there were naturally some glitches. So, definitely a lot of chatter about this announcement. It was something we'd never really seen before on Twitter, and Elon Musk saying any Republican candidate is welcome on the platform. We'll have to see if any of them take him up on that.
Right. He definitely said Republican candidate, this from the man who proposes to support free speech. I didn't hear him extend that invitation to anybody on the other side of the aisle. Julia, I have to ask you, though, about this particular launch. There's been a lot of criticism about this because many have said, who is Mr. DeSantis trying to reach? The average GOP voter is someone over the age of 50, and that's not exactly who Twitter targets.
That's a fair point, Nick. And that was a lot of the initial discussion. And not only are most people over 50, outside of the political and media landscape, not on Twitter, but I would argue that the majority of Americans aren't on Twitter. I think DeSantis's allies would counter that and say that he's doing a lot more besides this Twitter announcement. In fact, at 8 p.m. last night, he went on Fox News to give an interview with former Congressman Trey Gowdy. So clearly a friendly space for him. But at the same time, we know that Fox News in prime time does do well with conservative viewers. So he was able to reach them in that way. And actually, just within the last few minutes, we saw that DeSantis's team announced a campaign kickoff tour, our Great American Tour. They're kicking that off on Tuesday, May 30th in Des Moines, Iowa, with stops in other parts of Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. So they would argue that this is one part of the launch, but at the same time, there are questions as to, whether there was preparation issues on Twitter's part, whether these risks were seen coming. So lots of questions there.
Julia, is this much ado about nothing, or is there a risk this announcement hangs over his head this early in the campaign and it's something that becomes, a cudgel around his neck, or will voters move on?
I certainly don't think it's much ado about nothing, because I think you are going to see not only Republicans and former President Trump use this to essentially troll DeSantis, but also Democrats. In fact, you saw within minutes of those glitches happening on Twitter, President Biden's team trolling Ron DeSantis. So I will imagine this will pop up from time to time. But you and I know well, Nick, that this news cycle moves at a fast pace. We could be talking about something completely different tomorrow. So do I think it's the be all end all? Not necessarily, but I think with a campaign launch, it's really important to really get that perfect landing, that perfect launch. And that didn't happen here. So we'll see if that impacts him going forward.
And we also said that also didn't happen for Senator Tim Scott, who also did not have the best rollout announcing his campaign either. But back to Mr. DeSantis. Julia, I have to ask you, one theme that has been constant is those who have criticized Mr. DeSantis for not having maybe the most outgoing personality. Former President Trump even weighed in on that. He has said that DeSantis' personality is an attacking point. He's that the theme we should expect moving forward, or do you feel like Mr. DeSantis, will have to defend himself to voters?
Well, I think what you see former President Trump doing is defining DeSantis, or he was defining DeSantis.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.